Real talk, friends, this category is kind of blowing my mind right now. It's not something I normally sell in, and it's my top performing category right now. So in today's video, I am going to be sharing with you, we're going to check in with my numbers, see how I am doing right now in the last 28 days, and then look at this top performing category and the actual items that sold right now. Hey friends, if I am speaking too quickly for you, do feel free to slow me down. You can click up here on your YouTube screen, scroll all the way down to playback speed, and put me on the speed that is most comfortable for you. Now let's get back to it. Let's jump right into it. We're looking at the Sarah Style Sales and Trends dashboard. If you're new to the channel, this is a Google spreadsheet. You have access to it as well. Link down below. If you're a gold member on YouTube, you can have a discount code for this along with other free downloadables, or there is a discount code down below if you guys want to track and manage your data as well. I'm looking at one of the mini charts. I just want to kind of check in and see how I'm progressing, 28-day comparison, if I'm on progress and what my numbers are kind of looking at. And then we'll look at my top category and the actual items that sold. So just at a quick high level, the last 28 days, I'm up. I'm looking over here. I'm up $50. I say this is about net neutral, which is kind of where I want to be. Better is always great, but I'm actually okay with this right now considering everything that's going on in the economy and the hard times that we're having right now as well. I'm down 90 cents on average sale price, which is net neutral. However, I do know that my average sale price, and we can scroll down here, if you want to look over the course of the past year, the average sale price is going to be, this is my average profit, but kind of the same idea, right? It's just taking out my cost of goods. If you want to kind of look here, you can see my average profit is going down. So I've been working on some new strategies to kind of increase this profit right here, keeping my average sale price. People don't have a lot of money, but maybe trying to work on some sourcing strategies to lower my cost of goods so that my net income is not impacted, and things seem to be working really well for that. I'm listing less items, however, I'm selling more items, right? So over here, I've listed 111 less, and I am up 8 sales. So I want to talk a little bit about this because this is intentional, friends. I've done videos on it. You guys can check it out. I'll link a video up here. Reverse reseller nirvana essentially is what I'm doing right now, and I'm doing it because what's happening right now, I'm preserving my cash flow. It's hard right now. The thrift stores are charging more. There's more saturation in the marketplace, the economy, people have less money. If this isn't a long-term goal, right? So think about it. If I'm listing less items than I'm selling, eventually I'm going to run out of money. This is not a long-term strategy. It's kind of a short-term preserving cash flow. So I'm spending less money on inventory, but keeping my sales the same, which means that my net impact is actually going to stay the same and or increase depending on the numbers exactly. But this is an intentional strategy that I'm doing, and it is working. I am listing less items. It means I pay a virtual assistant. I'm paying less for a virtual assistant. I'm spending less on costs of goods, and I'm making more sales. Very strategic in what I'm doing. I'll link a video up here on how I'm continuing to make sales even though I'm not listing every day, because friends, if you follow my channel, you're already going to know this, but if you don't follow my channel, you do not have to list every single day to make sales. There are other strategies that you can do to make money reselling. Obviously, you have to list to have inventory. That's not the purpose of this video, but I wanted to touch on it. Check out some of my other videos if you're more interested in that concept. Here's what's happening. My sell-through rate is going up as well, 0.26%, but that is still an increase. And if we look over the course of a couple, when I started this strategy about a month ago, it was a pretty steady increase. Let's take a look at my top performing categories. I'm looking at profit because I want to look at taking out my cost of goods. If you're new to the channel, the chart that we're looking at, this is another chart in the SarahStyle Sales and Trends dashboard. I'm looking at this big chart right here with the bubbles on it. I have my sell-through rate and I have my average sale price. These are two metrics that you can look at to see how your categories are performing. Quick reminder, sell-through rate is how many items that you are selling out of how many items that you have for sale. It is a percentage. If you sell 10 items and you have 10 items for sale, that's 100%. That is a great metrics. However, if you're just looking at quantity and you say, hey, I sold 10 items, that's great. 10 out of 10, absolutely, that's great. But if you had 10 items for sale or you sold 10 items and you had 1,000 items for sale, you'd have a 1% sell-through rate, which is not so great. That is why we look at a sell-through rate and not at a quantity sold because it's a better indicator of how you are performing, whether it's at overall the 28-day or whether it's at your categories, or you can look at brands or platforms, whatever metrics you're looking at. Sell-through rate is going to give you a better indicator of how you are performing. And then down on the bottom is on average, how much are these items selling for? So you can see up here, if I had categories up here, these would be like my quote unquote below categories because they have a high sell-through rate, right? I'm selling a lot of what I have and they're selling at a high average sale price. This is not the typical reselling model, right? Most people cannot find a lot of items that are selling really high and selling 100%. If that is your business model, you're probably spending a lot of time on research and a lot of time on sourcing to find those items. That's not my business strategy. It works for some people. Mine is not necessarily that, but I do want to know, what I'm going to note on is the two top outlier performing categories. One is a really high sell-through rate. One is a high average sale price. If you want to know what this one is, this is my closest below, right? It has my highest average sale price and highest sell-through rate, you know, concurrently up in this quadrant. I'm going to do a video on this one and show actual sold contributing to this. So make sure to subscribe so you guys can see what that is. But we're going to look up here, intimates. Y'all, I don't pick up a ton of intimates. I don't sell a lot of intimates. You can see I only have 40 available, but 20% of them are selling. Now, tends to be what happens. This is my highest sell-through rate. Now, how do you know that it's a good sell-through rate for you? That's 20%. We take a look back here. My average 28-day comparison is an 8% sell-through. So anything above 8% is a category that is killing it for me. That's a great category because it's above my average. If you don't check your own data, but you want to look at your sell-through rates, you can compare it to Terapeak. I'm not going to show you how to do it for the sake of time and in this video, but I will link a video up here on how to use Terapeak because that's going to tell you sell-through rates for things that are selling on eBay. But 20% profit is a little bit lower, which is what you're going to notice. Typically speaking, things are going to sell at a higher sell-through rate for a lower profit, right? Think about it. People have $18. Well, it probably sold for like on average $24-ish. I think my cost of goods right now is like $4. So people have $20 to spend at a faster rate than if we come down here and we look at sleepwear. Again, this is something that I don't sell a lot of, but this sold on average for the month $70. But look at the sell-through rate. It's 8.3%. People can't spend $70 at as quick of a rate as they can with something over here for $18, right? So even if you sell different categories, this is still really helpful information for you to look at. You can come over here and look at as well what it looks like on a profit chart. But let's take a look and see what actually sold for me from these categories. Now, I said I don't pick this up a lot, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I pick up from these categories, and then we'll look at what's actually selling. I pick up Victoria's Secrets. It doesn't sell super high, and not everything from Victoria's Secret sells. It needs to have either like a really large number, that sounds terrible. It needs to be one of the larger numbers, either a larger band or maybe something that's a little bit more unique about it. So, into the double D's or like a 42, something like that. The standard, and part of this is because most women are an average size of 10 or 12. So there's more of them in those larger-ish sizes, as well as saturation. There's less of those available on the marketplace, leading to selling higher sell-through rates. If you look at Terapeak, you can see this information. The thing with Victoria's Secrets that you're going to notice that is selling, and I'm going to show you the sold in just a minute, but what you're going to notice that's selling and what I pick up is the larger numbers, and then it has to have like a print or lace or sparkly or fun, one of like something more unique about it. Just a nude t-shirt bra in like a 34A, I'm not going to pick up. As far as intimates go, the intimates that you're going to see completely transparent are vintage. There's nothing I would have ever picked up, not because they're not selling. Obviously they're selling. It's just not a niche that I really knew much about, and I'm learning, right? It's legit for sure. But last year I was purchasing whole closets from people, and one of the closets that I purchased was about half vintage. So I listed it, and now we're seeing what's selling from it. So let's go ahead and take a look at what is selling. You're going to see all eBay sales. There's two reasons for this. One, we'll take a look. I'll show you my eBay sales. My sales are significantly higher. This is another chart on the Sarah Styles, but you can see my eBay sales are, you know, through 6 times, almost 6 times, 5.5 times higher on eBay than they are on Poshmark. So you're going to see mostly eBay sales strictly because that's what's selling for me. That's where I'm doing the large amount of selling for me. And so most of them are coming from eBay. All right, let's take a look. The first one is Victoria's Secrets. Let me move me down here so you guys can see. So this is a size large, right? Like I said, the average woman, US woman, is a 10, 12, 14 in that range. So a size large, right? And a size large, size extra large, this is where you're going to get more sales because you just have more of a population that is needing that size. And then you can see here as well, it's, you know, it's lace, it's pink. It didn't sell super high, but it's selling at a really high sell-through rate. That's a strategy that you can use at a high sell-through rate. Jacqueline's Intimates, again, this is not something that I would have picked up. I don't know anything about it. It came from a Poshmark closet that I had purchased. The best offer was accepted for $17. Joggers. Honestly, let me know if you guys sell this. I would never, if I passed this up in a thrift store, I would not have purchased it. But it sold. It's an intimate, it's a pajamas. This is new with tags. It's a corset. It was kind of a pain to ship because you couldn't like fold it up small, to be completely honest. But look here, 42C bridal, and then it's also brand new. 34B, so this is something that's interesting. Like I said, if I were passing up in a thrift store, maybe at the bins I'd purchase it, but I probably would not have bought this because it's a 34B, it's nude. I mean, it has some lace in it, but it really wasn't anything special. But I purchased it in a whole closet buyout, so I had already purchased it, and I said, hey, let's go ahead and list it and see what happens. The nice thing about this is the person who bought that also bought this, but look at this. We're looking, it is a smaller size here. You're looking at a 34A. However, it's leopard, it's lace, it's padded. It's something a little bit more unique. And those two bras actually sold together. They actually sold together as a bundle. And I'm going to tell you, we're going to get back. I have more sales to show you, but I actually want to tell you this tip because this is really helpful. So whenever they sold as a bundle, the lady actually, the person, I don't know if it was a man or a woman, the person actually purchased, I shipped out like 10, 12 items, something like that. And how I encourage that is when people don't pay, I send them a message and I say, hey, in the morning before I ship, I say, hey, if you pay by today, I can ship them out by 11 o'clock. I also have a bundle discount and a shipping discount if you wanted to kind of bundle items together and save. And so I sent this out and they went through and sent me, I think they probably sent me like 25 offers one morning. I didn't accept, I counted a couple of them and they didn't take it, but I ended up shipping out like 12 or 13 items because I sent a note. Instead of saying, hey, pay for this item, why haven't you paid for this item, and being rude about it, I flipped that into, hey, you get a bundle sale, you have not paid yet, go ahead and add some items to your shipment and then we'll take care of shipping for you as well. If you don't know how to do this, so you have two options here. If people pay, you can either bundle everything together and send them a new invoice with a new shipping price. Or what I tend to do, because to send a new invoice, you have to have all the items, you have to weigh it, you have to know what you're going to charge for it, and you have to be at a computer. Most times I am not at a computer. So I typically will say, hey, go ahead and pay for it right now, and then I will just refund you the overage in shipping. I ship everything, and I look at how much they paid, and I look at how much it cost me, and then I just send a refund for a shipping discount. So that's a quick tip that was not included in the video, but a nice little quick tip. This, again, like I said, I would not have picked this up, not because it didn't sell, but because I just don't really know much about it. It's vintage, it's 80s, it's a nightgown, size medium, all of that stuff sold for $40. Again, Victoria's Secret. The thing that I'm noticing a lot as well with Victoria's Secret, I want to point out a couple things here. Y2K 90s style. You can also look at the label. I don't have a picture here. Yeah, you can look at the label to help you with that as well. Oftentimes I'll put 90s or Y2K style, even if it's not from them, but if it kind of has that look to it. And then I want you to note here as well, 36D, right? That's like a large, right? That 12 to 14, 10 to 14 average size woman. This is a vintage wrap dress nightgown type thing. It sold for $30. like I said, I would not have picked this up, not because it's not great, but I just don't know. So part of buying other people's closets is you get to learn about what they picked up and why they picked it up. This is actually what DKNY. It is a size small, medium, athleisure. It's new with tags. So this I purchased on a pallet, right? So would I normally pick up a small, medium in this? Probably not. Did I get it on a pallet? Sure. I've had this for 3 years, sell similar multiple times, and it finally sold. Let me know your guys' top categories before, and make sure to hit that subscribe button.